And that's what we do. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the one, the only, my life partner. He's going to twiddle a knob. Get ready for this, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Bill Rogers. Oh, there we go. And there's more. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
There we go. You can't start the show without
Had a good introduction.
Without a large hand on your opening night.
Oh, Bill Rogers.
That's what I'm on about. I came in, they clapped and all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
That was absolutely the music that we were playing, which is right. And Nina Simone. What about that, Ali? Nina Simone. That song was sung by the brilliant Ali, who's part of our crew and part of the Stepping Stone unit as well. So there you go. Ali doing her thing, and that is going to be our theme tune, I think. I think for those of you who missed it, let's just have a little bit of that. This is a little bit of our Ali. We think that's going to be our theme tune.
So disrespectful.
No. I want.
Boom! That's enough.
I want the crew to want more.
Leave them wanting more. Big round of applause.
Big round of applause. Well done, Ali. And interesting enough, a few months ago, before Ali joined Stepping Stone, I don't think I would have done that stuff in front of an audience, and got it done.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing the journey that one was doing. Well done, Ali. A big pat on the back.
Yeah.
Welcome, Sophie. I don't know your coping, Sophie. Advertising.
Absolutely.
I'm still working the bill out in my head.
I know. By an advertising spot here on our desk. Do you remember that when they used to phone us on a regular basis to want to advertise on our desk account? We just kept saying no, they kept calling. They kept calling.
Silly.
Just not their target.
There's only one bill. You don't put your V on your calendar unless
It would.
So here we are, live talk. Welcome everybody. We're at, Sheila, welcome. Top of the afternoon. That's one of them Irish expressions, I'm sure.
Tis indeed.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is Sheila McMahon.
I think it's McMahon.
Well, you would do.
But hopefully, are we going to get her to call in and she can tell us?
Well, we'll talk to Sheila in a bit. Let's just talk about it's our show.
Yeah, we don't care how you pronounce your name.
We don't.
Yeah.
She sent me a lovely message yesterday, did Sheila? And she gave me her full name, which was Sheila McMahon. But to me, she'll always be Sheila M. Welcome, Sheila. We'll talk about you in a bit, our special guest for the day. Oh dear, I had a flu jab
You
yesterday.
had a flu jab yesterday, and now you're having symptoms
I'm
of
having
the
symptoms
flu.
of flu.
It's just not on.
It's just not fair.
We're
is
going to
it?
have to
You know what I
talk to
mean?
Dr. NHS.
Just not fair.
And your little arm where you got the shot
Oh,
has
my arm,
swollen up
swollen.
and warm. And
Yes, like so I've been in battle. I've been in battle.
you've been in battle, but
Yeah.
it's gone hot, which means fever, which
Oh,
means
I don't
infection,
know.
which
I
means
don't
you're gonna lose that
I just
arm.
know that I've developed this dry COVID style cough. I'm joking. So let's move on. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
We're not going to move on straight onto anxiety first because I want to do my check-in.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. That's how you pronounce it. Sheila McMahon. Thank you, Sheila.
You gotta laugh.
You've got to laugh.
You
So
gotta
how
laugh.
are you, kid?
You got in first, did you? I'm very well. I'm very well. We will talk about anxiety because that's what we do, right? I had, Sheila, you might not know this, but everybody else does. I had a battle on my hands with anxiety over the last month, and coming out of it, putting into place all my self-help things that I do, all my therapy, all my interventions, right? I really got smart.
Why are you using that voice?
Because
okay.
because they're crystal swingy.
Yeah.
You know. But basically, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about anxiety, and I learned a lot about, self-help helps.
You've got many different diagnoses from experts with lanyards and PhDs, and they say that you've got bipolar, you get depression, you get highs, you get lows. The anxiety is a spin-off from all of that, isn't it?
It seems to be. It seems to be. I don't think that anxiety goes hand in hand with bipolar disorder, but for me, my bipolar seems to be under control, and my anxiety seems to be a little child who comes out to play sometimes and is really naughty. And I haven't completely tackled it.
Well, he stayed with us for a month this time.
It was a very, very unpleasant.
Yeah, very unpleasant.
I looked at a computer screen and I got an anxiety attack and a panic attack, and now I'm quite capable of sitting in front of one and pressing a button and seeing up come the 27 notifications that I need to deal with and going, okay, one at a time.
And if it goes wrong, you've always got the facilities to shout one of our children.
I love shouting at the children.
No, not at the children, shouting one of the children.
Just shouting one of them and saying, help me, help me,
help me.
help
Shouting
me,
at
I'm
the
drowning.
You can't shout at our children, they're men.
I know.
They're not
I
children.
can try.
Yeah,
I
they're
shouted
men.
at Dominic the other day.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what he did, but he just up my nose.
Yeah.
And I did
They're
a
men.
very motherly, even though he's almost 20 years old.
I know.
You get in there and do the dishes, or something like that.
Have you swallowed the funny voice book today? It's all sorts going down there. But how's your mental health today?
My mental health is very well, thank you. Yes, and once again, this morning, I didn't sleep well last night, so I didn't get up with my 5 o'clock alarm this morning. Again, I'm working on it, babe. I am working on it. I'm going to make it happen.
Well, it's a club that you might not want to join.
I do want to. But anyhow, I woke up and I was in a bit of a bad mood, right? Not anxiety, just a bad, yeah. And anyhow, I managed to get myself out of it quite systematically. And so I'm fine now, as per usual. By mid-afternoon, my mood is good. I don't know, maybe that is bipolar. Maybe when I say I've got my bipolar under control, maybe it too rears its ugly head with bad moods. Or am I just a normal human being who has good moods and bad moods?
Absolutely.
It's not all about mental illness. Maybe it's just everyday living. But anyhow, I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
And before you move on, how are you, Bill
I'm
Rogers?
really well today. Yeah.
Yep.
Very good. Every day's a bonus when you're well. This is the thing about being the carer or given the role. I am Mike Martin. Welcome to you, kind sir. Mike Martin from the Shine Network, ladies and gentlemen, which is a network based in Lincoln, but it's a mental health network. Anything you want to know about mental health, get in contact with Shine. Newsletter and online as well. And Mike's your man to talk to.
And they do coffee mornings.
And they do,
3 times a week.
Virtual coffee morning.
Yep.
Mike's the man to talk to. Good afternoon and welcome again, Mike. I'm really good. Just finished another application for grants because everything, as we know in this world, is all grant funded. That's how we survive. That's how we keep going. We've been very lucky during COVID that we've had a few grants to help us get this show off the ground and to help us get the podcast off the ground. The podcast's doing really well, being picked up by the BBC, don't you know?
Can we say that again?
Being picked up by the BBC, don't you know?
Been picked up by who?
The BBC.
Oh?
It's on BBC
What?
Sounds. It's called Both Sides of the Medication Cart. And it's Bill and Kate trying to find out why and how Kate got ill in the first place, and me still trying to sort out why swinging crystals makes you healthy.
And it's on this evening
It is
on
on
BBC Radio Lincolnshire.
Between 6 and 8.
Sometime between 6 and 8 o'clock, and
Yep.
and we tune in to catch ourselves live on radio,
We
which is
do, we
quite
do.
it's still a cheap thrill, and it's a good program. I can't think of the name of the guy who hosts it. Matthew William, is it? Okay, but it's a good program. It's a nice regional BBC radio. They do good stuff.
They do good stuff, and we've been on for the past
5 weeks.
5
Tonight will be the 6th episode.
on Thursdays, and they keep saying to me, send us another couple of episodes.
Yeah.
And we did an episode yesterday. It's out there in the ether.
Yeah, and it's brilliant because the first week they did an excerpt of our podcast.
Yeah, they did.
And the second week they did the entire podcast.
I know.
Because it's only 18 minutes,
Yeah.
right? You know, and but yeah, so we're quietly thrilled about that.
For those of you who are thinking of getting rid of your TV license, please don't. Otherwise, you won't be able to hear it. You know, if you ban the license, then to pay for the BBC will be full of commercials, and the fair chance that Bill and Kate will have, you know, somebody trying to sell you biscuits in between our show, and we don't want that. We don't want that. Great to see you too, Janet. Thank you very much. Great to see you back, says Janet.
Thank you, Janet.
Back in the field, kicking that ball again.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm really good. Filled out the applications, keep us going, and lots of ideas about we've started a project that I want to talk to Mike about at some point called the Lockdown Legacy Project, and it's going to be gathering stories and podcasts all about what you feel like and how you felt like during the proper lockdown. And it looks like it might happen again. They've already shut the pubs in Scotland, and they're thinking about closing the pubs and restaurants again in England as of Monday. So that's it. It'll be me down the co-op getting four cans of dandelion and burdock and a bag of nostalgia.
It's still not been the same though. We've been to the pub a few times, and it's
very strange.
Very strange.
Very strange.
It's very strange, you know.
Very strange. Any joy in your life?
Okay, let's do joy.
24 hours?
Get ready, crazy crew, to tell us your joy as well. For the benefit of Sheila, this is where we just phone in. No, we don't. We dial in. No, we don't. We write in what has been our joy.
What has been a joy in the last 24 hours? Everybody's got to have experienced some joy. In order to start that road to recovery of mental health, we have to find the positives, and that's what we're looking for. Anybody who's had some joy in the last 24 hours. Kate, joy?
Okay, my joy, this is interesting. Well, at least I think it's interesting, is I have developed a practice, which I've mentioned before, where the last thing at night, you know, just as I've been for my pee, I've set my alarm, I'm ready to go to bed, right? Where I take a stone and I hold it and I think of what was the best thing that happened today. So I did this last night, right? And I had a list. And it was a genius.
You keep getting these lists of things.
I had a list of good things. I'd been for a walk. I'd had a good chat with Dominic. I'd had a good chat with Harvey. I managed to have a chat or two a day with those boys on a regular basis. You know, we'd done work together, you and I, on this latest grant application. I had I had a jacket potato.
You did?
Oh, we went to a bakery, guys, and they had a little eat-in area, and Bill and he got 2 ham sandwiches, and I got a jacket potato. I haven't had a jacket potato in yonks, and it was so good. So my joy is this stone, this little white stone that I hold in my hands, and I do the exercise as outlined by Rhonda Byrne, who wrote The Secret, and it really, really, really brings me joy.
Smashing.
Okay. Now then,
Smashing.
Bill Rogers, you don't crystal swing, but you do have feelings.
I do. How do you know that? My joy. Well, it's lots of joy. Well, one of my joys was this morning, actually, because our youngest son, got up this morning and very early. And he did the dishes and he tidied up a bit for us. And I had a nice chat with him about a film, because he's going back to university on Sunday. He's doing film and media. Not media studies, it's not that easy option, it's film. And he's sent me this film, and I watched it last night, and it's just about a lift, about people getting in and out of a lift. There's a documentary, a lad just stood in this lift for about 10 days, filming people getting in and out of this lift. And at first I thought, oh, this is terrible. And then it grew on me. It's very clever, learning about other people's lives and other people's talk and how they speak to each other and how they've people that have lived in this building that's got this lift for 20 odd years, never experienced anything like having a documentary filmmaker in the lift filming them, and they've all agreed to be filmed. And it's one of the films that he's studying when he goes straight back to university.
Wow.
Because it's a film that everybody studies. So
Weird art.
well, that's what I thought. It was a bit arty, but my joy was talking to my son about film this morning.
Oh,
Because I too did film studies.
you did, and you love your films.
I do. Only certain films.
Yeah.
We've got Sheila's joy is My Holly Cat. I'm presuming that's a cat, and I'm presuming its name is Holly. Mm-hmm. So there you go. So any joy, keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. One of the things that Kate and I, with the anxiety and how bad it's been over the last few weeks, is we started to play a little game, and I want to do that because we want to look at the lighter side of it. So I want to carry on of our anxiety bingo.
Yes, and just to reiterate, right, this is something that Bill printed off for me when I was in the heights of anxiety or the lows, right? There it is. It's just a piece of paper with 25 ideas on it, and it's called Things I Can Control. And you know me and the number of times that I preach about, the God grant me the wisdom to know the difference between the things I can control and the things I can't, and the courage to change the things I can, and the serenity to put up with the things I can't, and blah, 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 blah. So the things I can change is definitely a theme in my life. So when you printed that off for me, I thought, I'm putting that on the fridge. So you and I put that on the fridge, and I looked at it on a regular basis, and I would see something that I could control, and that made me feel in control. And that's one of the things about anxiety, is that you relinquish control, and it's like the anxiety is an entity unto itself, and it takes over. It's like a bad visitor who comes to stay. So yeah, so this 25 things, as Bill says, it's the lighter side, but it really did have a profound effect on my recovery.
Interesting. Mike's just picked up on that film that Dominic and I have just watched about the man who did the documentary. And he said, I wonder if the process has meant that the tenants now started talking to each other more. I think they have, Mike, because they were all people having chit-chats in the lift that wouldn't normally talk to people if there wasn't a camera on them. So I think it's been an interesting kind of experiment for him.
Shelley's got some joy.
Go on, then.
Just now, I awoke from a full night's sleep, and I have not slept a full night's sleep for weeks now. So one solid night's sleep is welcomed and joyous.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. Beautiful. A full night's sleep. Good.
Brilliant. I'm just adjusting. You can carry on speaking and reading at the same time, Kate.
Gemma, and I think this might be a joy, they have lift pranks on the tube. It's very funny.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. So that might be where this documentary filmmaker kind of got the idea from.
May well
Wendy. My joy was having Reiki for the first time. Oh,
that's
I
another
love
one of them.
Reiki.
And it's one of the things that you crystal swingers.
And you know who my Reiki practitioner is right now?
Yes, I do.
The one, the only, Ali Baverstock.
I know.
How multi-talented is she?
We've spoken enough about that woman.
I know.
Already,
I know.
all right?
I know.
I think she's not even listening.
She's not even there.
I think she's gone.
Oh, Shelley's in with a shirt. 17.
What's 17?
She's ready for our things I can control.
Number 17.
But
okay.
But you were going to tell us what happens with the bingo.
Yeah, we've got a magic number. What we've done today, we picked a magic number.
Yeah.
And if anybody comes up with this magic number, then I'm reluctantly doing this because as a Yorkshireman, I wouldn't normally give anything away. But we've got a prize. And the prize is that if anybody comes up with the magic number on our little anxiety bingo here, we're going to give you a copy of Kate's book, which is called Pearls of Wisdom, How to Go From Grit to Great. And that's her name, so we prove that she wrote it. And on the back is her picture, right? So Kate wrote this book, and we're going to give you a copy of the book, whoever comes up with the magic number.
That's right.
So first out of the trap is number 17 from Shelley.
And it's not a winner.
It's not, sorry. But what it is, things that you can control is how often do you say the word thank you? And I'm a great believer in this. Please and thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Please and thank you, as my old man used to say, costs nothing.
And as this is things that I can control or that one can control, right? This is really important, that when you say thank you, not only are you good manners and giving the person that you're saying thank you pleasure because you're appreciating what they've done or doing, right? But it also puts you in a position of gratitude. And yesterday we talked about gratitude and how important it is to be thankful, how important it is to be thankful. And that is something that I can control. And so this is something I took on board as I was getting well, right? You know, you would make me a cup of coffee. I would make a point of saying, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, husband. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I have control over that, how many times I say thank you.
We also discovered that when we were looking at a few shows ago, we looked at gratitude and we looked at please and thanks, that it also releases certain chemical dopamine and stuff like that.
Yep.
When you do say thank you and you do it a random act of kindness, or you have a random act of kindness done upon you, you start to release these feel-good chemicals. So as part of the anxiety that you can control, saying thank you, you're also helping yourself.
To me, it makes perfect sense, right? When you say thank you, you feel good. Yeah, you feel good because you've made the other person feel good. You make yourself feel good. So when you feel good, there's going to be a biochemical kick as well. So which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do you get the biochemistry, then you feel good, or do you feel good, which ignites the biochemistry? I don't care. All I know is that exactly what you just said, science is starting to prove this stuff. Yeah, and I love the piece of research that I read, and I've mentioned it before, that just thinking of doing something kind, just thinking of saying thank you will release the serotonin, the dopamine, the GABA, the endorphins, the feel-good chemicals. Look at how many we have to choose from. But just thinking it. So yeah, so
Well,
that's a really good one. Thank you, Shelley.
We
Thank you.
do have a lot to choose from. I'd be grateful with just one. That would there you go. So that's Shelley. So now we have got number 20 from Gemma.
Oh.
Number 20.
Number 20. Oh.
Oh, this one will suit Gemma. I think it really
down
suits
to the
Kate.
ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll do the title. You can do the garbage.
The garbage.
The garbage.
The garbage.
Yeah, it's a word I made up. It's garbage and rattle. I just made that word up.
I want a divorce.
You're more than welcome. I've got 3 in my back pocket. Number 20, working towards my goals.
Yes.
And nowhere in
Yes.
nowhere in there, Kate, does it say, and my goal weight. So let's not mention at this point.
Again, you and I are so perfectly matched.
I know.
That I am scale obsessed, and you just don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
Okay, the moral of the story, working towards your goals. One of the really important steps in this is that you have to determine what your goals are.
Ah, yeah, I was just going to say that.
And that, to me, is the most important step, is I sit down, I get my journal. If you guys haven't got a journal yet, get one. But I get my journal.
I thought we were going to do an entire show there without mentioning
journaling. But no, Bill, no,
not a chance.
Mental health and journaling go hand in hand.
They do.
But the moral of the story is, right, you can set goals for the morning. You can set goals for the day. You can set goals for the week. You can set goals for your life. You can set goals that have to do with what you're eating. You can set goals that have to do with your exercise. So you can bind your goals in many different candy wrappers. Yeah. Ooh, metaphor upon metaphor there. But so what your goals are, but in working toward your goals, first you have to determine what the goals are, and that to me is the really informative part of the project.
Both you and Gemma have used goals and all that. We've talked about goal setting before. How does that fit in with looking after your anxiety?
Well, it feels good because, again, it's about feeling in control. This thing that we have before us, Bill, things I can control.
Right, okay.
How important that is, because for me, anyhow, and different people have different journeys, it's the loss of control when anxiety, takes the reins.
But those goals don't have to be huge, do they?
No, that's what I mean. You can wrap them up in any kind of candy wrapper. They can be life goals, and I mean, in my youth, I set goals of that I wanted to get married. I wanted to have a white picket fence. I wanted to have children. I wanted to, retire.
Well, I gave you all those things. Will you go away now?
Yeah. You only get to spend one wish here.
That's right, just one wish. You've had it.
One wish, you've done it. Yeah. You've done your 3 wishes, and now I'm released.
Yeah.
But working toward my goals, I have control over that. So Yes. Very good.
Very good
Love
for your
it.
mental health.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't do much
I don't
set
do,
it goals.
No, I have kind of ambitions and I have things that I want to complete, but mine are quite tangible. I have to know that, and I have to know what the end product is. I have to know that I know the car that I'm ordering or whatever. I'm using this as a very bad metaphor, but the car that I'm wanting, I know that it's going to be in the showroom when I go there because I've got the money in my back pocket to pay for it. You know, I don't want to go, oh, right, I've got to save up now. And in order for that to happen, I have to get a bag full of crystals and start swinging them around the room. Right. Go and hug a few trees. And then by the end of whenever the next kind of half moon, full moon cycle, then my car will be there. No, I don't set goals as much as you do.
Not as much as I do, no.
I kind of think I have to have a tangibility. I have to know that it's going to be there at the end. I have to touch it. I have to feel it. I have to know that.
Well,
you know.
Are you familiar with SMART goals? We've talked a little bit about them.
No, yeah, but not
But
really.
but what the A in SMART is that they're achievable. You know, that your goals are achievable. You know, and I think that that's a really important part of the process. So what
So
you're,
goal setting is good for the anxiety, and it's good
for
for
me,
things
for sure.
for things that you can control.
for sure.
Okay, our dear Wendy, we've got number 11 on Wendy.
Wait, let me cross off number 20 for Gemma.
Yeah,
Yes,
number 11,
Wendy.
and nobody's hit the magic number yet. I'm
No.
afraid.
Wendy, number 11. I can control learning from my mistakes.
Learning from my mistakes. Yes, it's right there in black and white, Wendy.
I'm crossing that one out.
Learning
yes.
from my mistakes.
Go on,
Yeah.
Bill, you tell us about that one.
Well, learning from my mistakes. I've learned a lot from the things that I've done wrong.
Yep.
But sometimes I don't see them as mistakes. Because everybody should have the right to fail.
Oh, you are a philosopher.
Yeah, I read it on the back of a crystal somewhere. But everybody has the right to fail, and I've failed a lot. Some of the, whether it's been for an audition that I haven't got, or whether it's something that I've wrote off for and it hasn't come to fruition. Everybody should have the right to fail, and I agree. Learn from it. Learn from it. Try everything once. You know, my grandmother was a great cook, but there's no way that I would eat her fruitcake because I don't like raisins. I like them if they're disguised, like covered in chocolate in a bag of Revels. But I learned at a very early age that I don't like coconut. You know, my dad used to buy me a Bounty or whatever, and I like the chocolate, but them bits of white stuff in your mouth, oh my goodness me, right? So learn from your mistakes, and do learn from them. Don't keep doing it. Don't keep going back. Don't keep going back. You know, we talked a few shows ago about toxic relationships and how to get out of them and stop going back, stop pretending.
Very difficult.
Very, very difficult. But we did at great length talk about 5 things that you could do to get away from a toxic friendship or a toxic relationship. It was about friendships, really, about how your friends deal with your mental health. And you've got to learn from it. You've got to learn from it because life's too short to keep making the same mistakes twice.
Yeah. I just really like what you said at the beginning of again, I use the word framing, but framing that your mistakes aren't really your mistakes. They're learning points.
Yeah.
You know, so even, you know, because the word mistakes might have a connotation of negativity, whereas actually as you're going through it, if you're learning from it, then it's an opportunity that you can seize.
Well, basically, don't beat yourself up. You know,
absolutely.
I remember when our kids were young and they did something wrong, we blame the action, not the child.
That's right. We were very, very clear on that.
You know, it's not good to drop a glass because you might cut yourself. Not you're a bad person for dropping that glass.
Yeah.
So you've got to learn from it. You've got to teach yourself. You might have to reclaim some kind of who you are. But you've got to teach yourself that, you know, it is okay to make a mistake, but don't beat yourself up about it.
Good point.
And I think that is brilliant about, you know, that you can't control it. Because if you start to beat yourself up about your mistakes, you're just going to be in an anxiety-ridden spiral forever.
Well, and that is one of the symptoms of being in anxiety and being in depression, where you have a perspective where you're a loser, where you're a waste of space, where
Absolutely.
you are a mistake, and that. So framing it as learning from those mistakes is only positive. So I like that one. I like that one a lot. So well done.
That's what
that
Mike
was,
just
that
said.
was Wendy, wasn't it?
Yeah,
What?
it was Wendy's, yeah. But Mike just said
It's not.
there,
Yeah.
it's not failure, you
If
learn
you learn
from it.
from it, absolutely spot on.
And our lovely friend Janet Burkett, number 26. We haven't got a 26.
She's having us on. It goes to 25, Janet.
25, Janet. We
Yeah,
haven't got a 26.
guess again. Guess again.
But
Yeah.
I think that's very good, though, Janet.
Yes,
Very good.
make one up your own.
Humour.
Humor.
Humour. Number 26, humour.
Number 26, as written by Bill Rogers, is humor.
Humour. Yeah.
This is something that I can control. Go on then.
Always make time to have a bit of fun.
Yes.
Just like Janet did there. I'll have number 26. Knowing that there's only 25 on our list. Humour. Always take time to have a bit of fun with yourself. Have a bit of fun. So there you go. We can't make it any bigger than that.
I know. You know, it's funny when you say that, right? It's like, I find you really amusing. And I know, see, and you find me amusing. But sometimes when I watch back over our broadcast, right, I'm like, that wasn't that funny. Why are you laughing, Kate? Why are you laughing? And it is...
Because I've made you think that I'm funny.
Okay. Okay. Well, therein lies a tale.
Therein lies a
But yeah,
tale.
so it's so we make time for humor. It's very important to us, and one of the things we really recognize is that when you get stressed, one of the first things to go is your humor.
Is your sense of fun.
And so
Yeah.
as I'm learning more about my anxiety, what I need to clock onto is when I'm stop having fun, I'm doing something wrong. When I stop having fun, I need to stop what I'm doing and rethink and nip in the bud, be preemptive that I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole and fall into anxiety again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I learned a lot this time around. So hopefully it'll
Gemma says everyone
for a
needs
while.
goals to reach towards and achieve small goals. I set achievable ones.
Yeah.
That's the key, I think.
Yeah.
Setting achievable goals and get there. Take your time and get there.
Yeah.
Our lovely new friend Sheila says number 3. Please.
Number 3 for Sheila.
Number 3.
And Shelley's going to be in with a dirty shirt. Number 3, I can control getting enough sleep. Now, I think some people might disagree that you can control it. Because I've got more than one friend, and here I find out Shelley's one of them, right, who have sleep challenges. Yeah? The number of people I know who... I mean, I sleep too much, so I have the challenge the other direction, that I need to wake myself, right? And I think it's partly medication, that I'm on 3 bouts of medication that side effect is sleepiness. But the number of people, very dear friends, who are up at 4 o'clock, you yourself, Bill, you're up at 2 o'clock, you're up at 3 o'clock, you're up, you go to sleep really easily.
I go to bed really early.
Yeah.
And I have a routine. And I think that's the thing about sleep, is that you've got to have a routine. We've talked about this before.
It helps.
So my routine is I watch a little bit of TV on my telephone, right? And we don't have a television in the room or anything like that. There's no big stimuli in the room. So I watch a little bit of TV on my little telephone. I only watch maybe 45 minutes of something very simple. I'm watching Shakespeare and Hathaway right now. On iPlayer with my dear friend Mark Benton in it, another big lad like myself. I'm watching that right now. They're 48 minutes long. And then I listen to old radio comedy. And then I listen to that until I start to nod off, and then I turn everything off. That could be 9:30. It could be 9 o'clock. It could be 10:10. But what my body tells me, that's it, right? But it only takes something.
I know.
Like a bird flying past or a car hooted or whatever, and I'm wide awake.
Yeah.
So I'm awake at midnight and I'm awake then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a funny one. So that thing about getting enough sleep, what is enough sleep? What's that?
Well, that depends on you.
Yeah, I know. That's what
it's
I'm
a
saying.
study of one. It's
Yeah.
a study of one. Everybody's different. But so I might beg to differ that we have control over it, because I do know, in my experience, friends who have put into place, as you've just said, good bedtime rituals. Yeah. And they and there's the experts, some suggest if you wake in the night, get up, do something. Some suggest don't get up. Some suggest, so there's no, follow your guru, choose your guru. But, and there are lots of books out there about how to get better sleep. And if I was sleep deprived, I would be ordering one of them.
Mike remembers his mother telling him off, and his dad off, started yelling at me for dropping a box of eggs, and she said it was just an accident. True, it is just an accident. These things happen. Don't yell at the child. Don't yell at all. Just kind of get around the fact that it wasn't their fault. Mike also said he liked number 26 with egg fried rice, please. That's him.
We asked for that, Bill.
We did ask for that. We asked for that.
Yeah.
He said that my first bout of depression saw me hardly sleeping. He said, he says his depression kicks in and then sarcasm kicks in as well. Well, they said sarcasm, the lowest form of wit, but the highest form of intelligence.
This is interesting what Mike's just said. Mike's prolific here. But my first bout of depression saw me hardly sleeping at all. 2 years later, complete opposite. So sleeping too much, I'm presuming what you're talking about, right? And absolutely, sleep is so indicative of whether you have good mental health. Leslie, who I know has really good mental health, says, I find sleep is a habit. Every now and then I try to reestablish my pattern if I get out of sync. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think Sheila's right there as well when she says
so many people find it difficult to sleep. Not sure we can all control this. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
So that's
it's like when I go to sleep, I go to sleep, and then it just takes one thing and boom.
Yeah, I think perhaps what the creator of this 25 things, when they're talking about that you have control over how much sleep you get, how much sleep you try and get.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So in other words, if you're in a state of mania and you're up all night, right, you need to calm yourself down. You need to try and sleep, which is impossible. So it's a real indicator.
It is hard.
It's a real indicator that your mental health is out of whack if you're sleeping not enough or if you're sleeping too much.
As soon as that one was Sheila's, why don't you give Sheila the phone number of the studio, and then after Janet, if Sheila wants to ring in, we can talk about what she's doing this weekend.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Kind of
Okay,
special.
Sheila, get your pen poised, and I'm waiting. And 2, 3, 4. The studio phone number is 075 87 876 476. I'll give it to you again in case anybody else wants to call in. That would be great. 075.
No, it wouldn't, because we haven't got enough time.
Oh, okay. This is just for Sheila then.
Just for Sheila.
075 87 876 476. There we go.
So hopefully you got that, Sheila. Right, moving on. Our friend Janet says, sorry, it was the workmen next door. I had to wait while I lost your sound. Anyway, Janet wants number 18.
Number 18,
please.
she's in again. This is a good one, and I will speak about it. Things I can control. Number 18 says, my mindset.
Mindset.
Absolutely. I am in the process of writing my second book, and the first chapter, which is about the longest chapter in the book, is about mindset. Mental health and mindset. If you want to be well, you are more likely to be well than if you don't. Yeah? Because being unwell can become your identity if you're not careful. Yeah? Being unwell. What I say, and I've said for years, right? Sick is a warm, safe place. And we can get used to it. And we get lots of attention when we're not well. If you're lucky, if you're surrounded by loved ones, if you've got a good team of professionals, a good team of friends and family, you can get lots of attention, and it can be addictive. So your mindset that you want to be well can be quite a challenging thing to have. But I totally, mindset, how you perceive things, what you're thinking, what you want, what your why is. This is another one that I've been working on quite a bit. What is my why? Like, I want to be a member of the 5 o'clock club, 5 a.m. club. And why? I need to figure out why, so that when my alarm goes off, I know why I'm getting up, yeah? And this, again, is all about mindset. You, Bill, have been blessed that you've got a very good mindset. You know yourself. You know, I found you and you were fully hatched, you know? Well, it's true. It's true. You know? You kind of knew most things by the time you were 21 that you were going to know for the rest of your life.
I came from that background that if you want a meal, you learn how to cook it. You know, if you want to get from A to B and you want a car, you learn how to drive. You know, if you want to purchase that car, you work and get it. You know, so yes, you're right. I had kind of set goals, as if we're going back to that. But yeah, my mindset, I was there. I was, you know, and we learnt things from our elders as well. I mean, I learnt to cook at my grandmother's apron and my dad's apron. My mum cooked beautifully, but my dad liked to cook, and I watched him, and he gave me a knife, and I cut up carrots and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I knew how to do lots of things. You said by the age of 21, but I'd also worked as well. I came out of school and worked in industry where you had to survive, and it was survival of the fittest. You had to be really good and punctual and on time and do your job properly. Otherwise, because then I'm talking 76, 77, they could have easily fired me and got somebody within the hour. There's always people looking for work during the late 70s because there was not a lot of work knocking about.
Yeah. What it makes me think of is the late, great, and I say this correctly, Maya Angelou, the beautiful poetess who just died recently, right? She says you can tell more about a person by the way that they unwrap tangled up Christmas tree lights. Do you know what I mean? So your mindset, the way that you filter your whole life, you can control. And I have to believe that, because otherwise it's all futile.
Well, Mike says the one thing that I admire about Margaret Thatcher was the fact she only required a couple of hours sleep per night.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
And Churchill was the same, apparently.
Yeah, well, Churchill was bipolar, so, he might have been having mania.
Adele says, I learned to make gravy the proper way. I'm sure that's using all the meat juices and all that kind of stuff, Adele,
Yeah.
Great book on the subject is Yourself by Gary John Bishop.
Okay.
On that.
There's a recommendation from our Leslie.
There
Brilliant.
you go.
And Sheila says, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for life. Absolutely.
Give him a fiver and he'll go and have a chippy.
Absolutely. And feeding men is absolutely my priority in life.
It sure is.
Yeah.
So we are going to get a phone call fairly soon, hopefully. And we're going to be talking to our Sheila, who's our guest today, who has been all sorts of things, really. I'll let Sheila talk to you for a few minutes. But I met her, as I said earlier, doing a course that I used to teach called Improv Yourself. And it was a comedy workshop on improvisation about thinking on your feet. And Sheila was one of the people that came to that course that I did. And we found we got a common interest in daft things that made us laugh, really. And she was about to embark on a stand-up career. She wanted to go and do stand-up as Sheila M, because it's a lot easier than saying and then the last thing I heard from Sheila is that she was doing a course in counselling as well. Oh, hello. We have...
It's so exciting.
Hello. 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 Are you there? Hello.
I can hear her TV in the background.
No, that's us. Hello. Hello. How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Can you hear me, Bill?
I can.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
hello?
Hello. I think she might be winding us. Are you winding us up?
Not at all. Have I rang the wrong number by mistake?
Yeah. This is a Chinese massage parlour.
Hold on a second. Do I need to come out? Because I'm obviously watching you on Facebook. Do I need to come out of that? Is
No.
that
Sheila, we can all hear you, my love.
brilliant. Hey, lovely, fantastic show, folks. Well done.
Thank you.
Sheila, you've got a show, live mental health show on Saturday online.
I do,
And the show is called Anxiety.
Oh, yeah, it's all about anxiety. Bring it on. Bring it on.
Well, we here at Kate and Bill on the table are going to give you 10 minutes to tell us what is this show about, other than the title.
Yeah, so it's all about understanding anxiety. It's why we get anxious in the first place and how we actually need anxiety to live. We'd be dead if we didn't have any anxiety. We need the old freeze, flight, and fight response to keep us alive. It's when it gets out of control that's the problem. So it's actually all about befriending anxiety. So it's learning to accept it, to accept the messages that's trying to tell you, and learning how to work with it. So it's almost like the more you fight it, the bigger it gets because you ain't listening to it.
So a massive difference between being a counsellor and being a stand-up, and,
Yeah.
and putting the two together. How did that all happen?
I mean, that's natural, Bill. It's a bit like when we met, I was mainly doing the comedy, and then my own mental health started to suffer, and I was having horrendous panic attacks and depression. I heard, I think, Mike speaking about his depression there in the chat. You know what I mean? You know, guys listening, you'll know what that's like. I honestly believe that unless you've been through mental health conditions, you've no idea what it's like. You know, it's horrendous. And then I, naturally enough, had to go into counselling, and it was the best thing I ever did. And I loved it so much, I decided to become a counsellor myself. And then my comedy shows naturally evolved into comedy and mental health.
So it was you going to see a counsellor for your mental health that inspired you to become a counsellor in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what the council did for me, I was in such a dark place. I honestly believe I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't had that counselling experience. And so I trained as a counsellor over 10 years ago, so to be able to be counselling people for the last 10 years where I genuinely know what it's like to be there, that's such a privilege.
And do you follow a like CBT, or is it your own stuff, or what kind of counseling you doing, Sheila?
Yeah, it's more psychotherapy. It's more the deep-rooted stuff. Like CBT is great if you've got kind of surface-level stuff and you want to reframe your thinking.
Yep.
I do more the psychotherapy side of things. So the real deep-rooted traumas, whether it's abuse or bereavement or experiences that people have had through no fault of their own, that they don't end up defining them for the rest of their life, and they can make sense of where this worthlessness comes from and how they blame themselves for stuff that wasn't their fault. It's more the deep-rooted stuff for the long-term solutions.
Okay, and how have you been doing that during COVID? Are you doing video?
Yeah, absolutely, Kate. So I just transferred my face-to-face business to an online business, and I've been working the whole time during COVID, seeing people via Zoom, Skype, on the telephone. I mean, we're so lucky with this technology. So lucky.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I want to ask, because Kate over there, she's been doing stand-up about her own mental health for 30 years, talking in a comedic, comedy kind of way about being, from chained to a bed to injected with all these chemicals and taking chemicals. I've spoken to Kate about this at great length, and I've actually seen Kate's one-woman show, and it's very, very funny. And then I was laughing at Kate's suicide attempts. I mean, and I felt guilty about it afterwards. How does yours transfer to being funny? Your journey. What elements have you put in there, Sheila, to make it funny?
I suppose it's kind of similar. I mean, some I actually can't repeat because it's far too naughty. Let's just say when I'm trying to explain what a panic attack is like for somebody that's never had one, I kind of explain that this particular friend of mine who asked me, actually, you know what, I'm going to say it anyway. So this friend of mine, she asked me, she likes having sex, that's what she's into, happy days, and she said, what's a panic attack like? And I said, well, a panic attack is like an orgasm. You'll know when you've had one.
Oh, dear.
You have to laugh, folks. Sometimes, yes, you've got to cry too, but sometimes you've got to laugh. And Ben, you taught me that in that workshop many years ago, that comedy is tragedy over time.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
that, yeah.
Comedy, just tragedy with a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Well, bless you. What are your audiences thinking about this?
I mean, like, I've been doing these shows for the last 5 years, and I mean, I love it because people come in feeling very apprehensive. They go, God, what am I going to find out? And am I going to, learn that I've got conditions I didn't know I have? And people have said to me that they come to the show worried, and when they leave, they'll laugh their heads off thinking, oh my God, I'm not normal. That is fantastic. Because I don't think anybody's normal. I love that, Kate. You were saying that earlier on in the week where you said you felt that everybody was a bit on the spectrum. I think people that think I'm normal and I'm happy every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, good luck with that one.
It's not going to happen.
It's not.
It's not going to happen. So Saturday is, of course,
Yeah.
World Mental Health Day.
Yeah.
And are you doing anything else besides your show to celebrate World Mental Health Day?
I mean, to be fair, when I'm doing a show, it's full on. It'll be full on that day, preparing for the show. Obviously, now that I'm doing it online, it's getting the preparations. I do a walk anyway. Every Saturday morning, I'm part of a walking group. And we're going around Sutton Park in Birmingham. It's beautiful. And for my own mental health, I love that. Having the crack with my mates and, out in the fresh air. It doesn't matter if it's raining or not. I just love being in touch with nature. So, yeah, that's the plan.
Yep.
Brilliant. So, is this the first time that you've done it online, Sheila?
It sure is. And I've been getting to grips with Zoom. I mean, obviously I've been doing Zoom during, the last couple of months.
Yeah.
But I've done the old upgrade, and I've seen the way you could put people in the waiting room, and I've decided that's going to be like my nausea room for people that heckle me too much. And they kind of go into this like sin bin for about 2 minutes, because I know my audience, because I've been doing this for years now. People know that it's an experience. I like having a crack with you. I like people heckling me. It's part of the show. That spontaneous. I'd say probably the funniest stuff I do is when it's just for the moment, because even I don't know what I'm going to come out with.
Yeah. So will we, the audience, be able to see each other?
Yes, if you want. I mean, Zoom is brilliant like that, because you can actually hide yourself if you want to. So you can hide your video view, so you can be completely anomalous. I can't even fucking pronounce it, but anyway, that word. And it's like anyway. And or you can see each other, so there'll be parts of the show. I mean, it's down to preference. You can have it in gallery view where you can see everybody, or you can have a speaker view when you see myself.
Okay.
You switch it off when you've had enough.
Oh, bless. And how long is the show, Sheila? How long is the show?
It's the same as my theatre shows. It's a 2-hour show. There'll be a break in the middle, and there'll be so much in it. There'll be so much in it. There'll be so many coping techniques I use. There'll be a sing-song. I've done a version of, the song "Come On, Eileen."
Yeah.
I've done it. I've called it COVID-19.
Ah, very good.
And just, the relaxation, and just talking about the cycle of loss, and I'll have a 1 minute silence for the people that we've lost during COVID. So it'll be such a mixture of emotions. People have said that they'll cry in 1 minute, they'll laugh in the next, and you know what? That's all part of being a human being.
It sounds fabulous.
And if we wanted to book or to come and see it or to sit at home and be in one of them darkened rooms, if we're being naughty,
I bet you would. We won't say more. We won't say any more about that, Bill.
How do we get to see you, Sheila?
Look, what I'll do is I'll put the old link in the chat if you want it, so you can book your tickets to Eventbrite, and one ticket, basically for the whole family, and that's how you do. You book your ticket, and then you get an email from me the day before with a link to the show, and you just log on. So you just need the internet and a camera, and then away you go. Be visible if you want or don't. It's up to yourself.
Brilliant.
Excellent. So you're going to put a link in on the feed of our program, are you?
Yeah, I'll literally do it now if that's okay.
That would be
chuck
perfect.
it in there, and then if people want to come along to the happy days. You know, it'd be fabulous to see, especially because I can tell your audience, we've all been through it, and I love the idea of not being a stereotypical councillor. I love being as mad as a hatter, and you know, just saying it as it is. You know, none of this expert shite, excuse the language. Just we're all the same.
Brilliant.
Thank you ever so much, Sheila M. That's Sheila M, who's got a show online on Saturday, which is International Mental Health Day. Starts at 19:45 and finishes 2 hours later. That's if you've not been sent to the naughty room, of course. You'll get to see it. And Sheila's going to put a link on. Sheila
There
M.
it is. There it is. It's on.
There it is. Sheila M, thank you ever so much. Take good care.
Thank you, Sheila.
And thank you for what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job, folks. Thank you for keeping it real.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you very much, Sheila M. Have a great show. There she is, Sheila M, folks. Give it up for Sheila M.
Oh, so much talent. We start with Ali singing her heart out, and we finish with Sheila making. I laughed a couple times there.
Funny girl.
I just want to read. There's a long feed here from Mike. It says, on my first admission to the day hospital, this guy walked up to the tea trolley and asked if the water was hot, and then poured some over his hand to find out.
Ooh.
2 hours later, he was the nurse. He was the nurse taking my medical history. I was just thinking about Joe Brand transitioning from a mental health nurse to comedian. Absolutely. And I think what Sheila just said, they go hand in hand.
They do.
And also what she said, you're going to laugh, you're going to cry. That's what being human's all about.
And everybody's got a story to tell.
Yep. And also the classic that, you know, as a counselor, having lived experience is invaluable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's also that kind of, once you've been through it yourself, you know, there is sometimes a need to help others. Absolutely.
And that's what happened to me. You know, I had a vehicle, theater, to share my story.
Yep.
And, for me, I had to be well enough to do that. So I didn't want it to be any self-indulgent, you know, I'm going through angst as I'm doing it. But like Sheila, you know, she's 10 years later after her illness that she's doing this show first time online.
And that's what we're doing with the Lockdown Legacy Project, folks. We want you to come and tell us your story. But more about that as we go throughout the week, so it's evolving.
Sure.
We're not back tomorrow, sadly, because it's Friday and we've got a clash. But we will be back on Saturday. And hopefully we can continue with our bingo. Nobody got Kate's book, by the way. Kate's book is up there for the offering, for the taking. So we will be
It's really good. I've read it.
She has, and it is. So thank you ever so much, crew. What a lovely way to spend a nice, gentle hour talking about anxiety and mental health. I wonder who else is doing that right now. Probably nobody. I'd like to thank our guest, Sheila M., and good luck with her show. There's the link. Check it out. Very funny woman. That's if you can understand what she's saying. And I'm joking when I say that. It is that time, I'm afraid, Mike. It's that time. Sorry, pal. But I will talk to you probably early next week about other things. Sheila Mama, thank you very much. Mike Martin, thanks very much. And all our wonderful crew out there. It's time for a bit of this. That's the book. Say bye-bye, Kate.
Bye-bye, Kate.
Bye-bye, everybody. This is the big old Yorkshire pudding saying we'll see you on Saturday.
Kate the Great, the Crazy Canuck saying we'll see you on Saturday.